We started the Checking In podcast with two goals in mind. First, as bankers, to share cool technologies and financial tools and strategies for businesses and individuals. Second, to highlight some of the awesome small businesses and services that we have here in North Andover. We thank you for listening and hope that you learned something and come back for more. Hello and welcome to the North Andover Cam Studios. I'm Amy LaMarche and you're listening to the Checking In podcast. I have with me a special guest today. His name is Hashim. Azam. He told me this 2 minutes ago, but, under pressure, I forgot. He is the owner of Goldenseal Apothecary right downstairs in North Andover. And I thought, how interesting. We have a local, it's not called a pharmacy or a drugstore. He's calling it an apothecary. And he's got sort of a traditional soda fountain and some other things. What a neat concept to bring back. And I said, I want to learn more about this guy. And I bet you other people do too. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I really appreciate you taking some time to find out more about us.
Great. Well, again, we're going to appreciate you sharing. So let me get started. So how did you come up with the name and the concept?
So the concept, it was originally we were thinking to do some sort of pharmacy. We wanted to have something that's in town, that's local, that people would feel comfortable coming in. And the whole concept of everything we do is being welcoming, but also being about people. So what really sets us apart from other pharmacies is we're very focused on people, and we really do mean it. And being small, the nice advantage for us is that we get to make those changes a little bit faster. So where you have large companies and they're trying to be about health, they don't have the ability. They have 3,000 stores, 4,000 stores, whatever, to make that change in. But if we're making it in our first store, our only store, then we get to make that immediately as we see fit, whatever we think best suits, particularly this community.
Now, are you sort of into tradition and looking back on the old days? I have to say I did a little digging about why there are soda fountains or why there were in pharmacies in the old days. And interestingly enough, you probably know, but during Prohibition, they became a real mainstream, sort of as filling in the social activity that used to be surrounding drinking. But tell me, so why the fountain and the pharmacy?
So the fountain kind of falls back into our line of wanting to do something where the community can get involved. And what we've noticed is that, this idea of gathering around in a place, as time goes on, we're finding that less and less common, where people can meet up, where people have a safe place to go, where people have a place where that they can have a date or bring others or bring friends or do work. And I think having those things set up so that, it encourages a community. And I think as time goes on, that becomes more and more important because, let's face it, we have so much technology these days. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse where you're able to, see someone face to face over FaceTime or Zoom, and it's not necessarily the same effect. So, having the soda fountain, it's not only just something that's a draw in, but it's also just a way of saying, hey, you're welcome to come here. You're welcome to, use our space as you see fit to be a part of the community with us.
That's excellent and a really good point. What I want to know, too, is what's your background?
So I've been a pharmacist for some number of years now. I started out, I graduated from Mass College of Pharmacy in Boston. I started out working at CVS for a little bit. And I was not, the happiest person there. So I honestly thought that it would have been, I needed something that was different. And I got fortunate where someone gave me an opportunity to learn about, how an independent pharmacy would work. It's not really something that you get taught in school. And it's partly, in part why there's so few of them, because it seems like this impossible task. But as you learn, as you're able to do things, it gives you an opportunity to be able to do something like that for yourself. And part of my long-term goal here is to be able to do that for other pharmacy students down the line, possibly through an internship or something of the sort, or maybe go back to school and teach how to do this so that we don't lose this part of our community.
Well, there is something very personalized about going in there. I mean, the feel of the place, it's not generic. Even the lighting, the windows, it is just a very comfortable place to be.
Yeah, and we worked really hard. We had a wonderful architect as well, and we wanted every part of it to be welcoming. So we really put a lot of thought into all the little details. What color floors, what color seats, what kind of what kind of counter material would we like, what kind of ceiling color, every little detail.
I would imagine going through that process, you never realized that sort of thing would make a difference, or that you'd be put to task to choose a counter color or a floor tile or texture,
it was
whatever.
Fun though. it was definitely part of the fun, because you're sort of recreating something, and you're recreating it to your imagination a little bit, and with a whole team of people, and you're just trying to make it make sense so that when someone comes in, they recognize it, but it doesn't feel like it's stuck in the 50s. And I think part of that is we want to make sure that with anything that changes, anything new that comes out, whatever we can offer the community, whatever health benefits we can offer, whatever it comes down to, we want to be at the forefront of that. So we don't want to be completely stuck in the past, but we do definitely have a fond memory of that kind of thing.
Some certain amount of nostalgia.
Certain amount of nostalgia for sure.
Now that gets me to another question about the types of products. Again, you're trying to differentiate yourself from a chain. Us in the North Andover Public and beyond, what sorts of things can we get from you that we can't get at a big chain?
So a lot of it falls down to things that are the more specialty stuff, certain kinds of gauze or certain kinds of wraps and things like that. But a lot of what it comes down to is service. That's the number one thing that you can get from us that is a little bit more difficult to get from a chain. And it's certainly difficult, sometimes walking in and having a whole group of people that you don't know. And part of what we try to do here, all of us as a team, we try to make sure that people feel comfortable. They have a familiar face. They actually have a pharmacist that they know, and not only that, a pharmacist who knows them when they come in. It gives someone the opportunity to have a real relationship where you can ask real questions and not feel strange asking a complete stranger, and trusting them with your personal information.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Again, an important part of the community. I have to say, we had a wonderful pharmacy in Linfield for years and years and years, and I know people really depended upon the pharmacist and built a relationship, and unfortunately he passed away suddenly and they closed it. Great loss to the town. So I'm so happy that you filled this void here, and that people have this option of a comfortable place to go and deal with their health stuff.
Yeah, I think it makes all the difference in the world. And just from everything I've seen, just having that relationship, because no two people are the same. One person's needs, fears, even if you're, even in school when we're counseling, we're taught not to just go through every super scary side effect you'll ever see written on a piece of paper ever. Because sometimes, you don't need that, but every person's a little different. So, if something is going to give you like a tingling in your fingers in your piano player, that's a little bit more relevant than, if you're, you're doing something else where you don't have to worry as much.
You're playing tennis or something,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. You just have to be, mindful for the person you're talking to. Some people really do want to know everything. Some people don't want to know everything. And getting to understand the person that you're talking to, I think, is just as important as the message you're trying to convey. Otherwise, it kind of gets lost in translation.
Now, you must be spending a lot of hours down there in the pharmacy or the apothecary. Why North Andover?
I kind of grew up in town. I went to school up the street. I was very fortunate to have gone to St. Michael's. It was a good memory, and everyone was extremely kind. And that's kind of what I fall back and think about. And we used to just drive by this place all the time, and put no second thought to it. And it's a little interesting to be here, and to be able to have a business in town, and to be able to kind of give back to the community in that way.
Oh, great. So Goldenseal Apothecary, what's the exact address?
It's 70 Main Street. It's right across from Cody's Garage, Eyes on Main. We're literally down the street from CVS, so it's easy. We have parking in the back and everything.
Good food and access to drugs, medicines that people may need. Did you have anything else to add that we didn't cover?
No, I think we got it. So thank you. I appreciate it and the thoughtful questions, and I'm thankful to have the opportunity to speak with you today.
Well, so I wanted to end this by thanking the North Andover Cam Studios. Again, a tremendous resource to the public. They are losing a lot of their volunteers, the students that worked over the summers that now are going back to school. And some interesting volunteer opportunities to cover the sports. They need people to pick up a camera and walk around and film the players. I believe they may need some commentators as well, but Bill didn't elaborate on that. So thank you so much for the studio for making this available to us and to the public. And please come on down or call the North Andover Camp Studio if you're interested in volunteering and just learning about how it operates. They do podcasts, they do a lot of filming, and have an opportunity for people to do their own TV shows. There's a cooking show in the cooking area. It's really fascinating. This podcast is available on the website, North Andover Cam website. It also plays on the public access channel, so you will see it from time to time. My name is Amy LaMarche. Again, I'm at the Salem 5 Bank in North Andover, and happy to bring the Checking In podcast to town.